studies and then comes out with an ongoing analysis over a year, it gains knowledge. And the other aspect is, what is global competition? What should be open for global competition? Issues of level playing field. So these are some of the critical issues. May I now request our very learned first question, the gentleman, to repeat his question before we go on.
Me? My revolving question is this, where it is the duty and a moral duty also of the government to provide any infrastructure, whether it is road, college, hospital, whatever it may be. Today is a present trend that government have given to the private sector to build up either a flyover or a road where there is no other road and there is no option to the public. In case there is an option to the public, I can understand that that is the action of the government is right. But where it is the duty of the government to provide a road, whether the road is built of good road or flyover, whatever it may be, then it is not fair to charge any toll in any shape. Because today this trend is going on, tomorrow as told by your good self also, that the bus and the mall combined and blended. Tomorrow they may be charging for schools, they may be charging for hospitals, they may be charging for anything, and they may be charging even in living in a town.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sir, what is your alternative route? Government should not toll. At the outset, I would like to agree with you absolutely. If there is no alternate route available, because I have a fair amount of insight into the government working. This is a priority area. If there is no alternative route, government has got no business to toll it. Because government is indulging in so many wastages in so many other areas, they could save on in those areas and avoid tolling that particular road.
It is because of the inefficiency on the part of the government.
Agreed. But let me throw some light at what is actually happening. We all are paying cess, like Anil had used the expression shadow tolling, which is prevalent elsewhere. We also have shadow tolling in India. That is in the form of cess which we are paying on the sale of diesel and petrol throughout the country. The money is routed to NHAI and then it is channelized for the construction of roads. Whenever we register a vehicle, we pay road tax. Until 15 or 20 years ago, the common man used to have the perception कि मैंने स्कूटर खरीदा अगर या लंगरेटा का खरीदा या कोई भी लिया whatever, road tax इसकी है कि road use कर रहे हैं. We've forgotten about it, why we used to pay that. So that was the quid pro quo which a common man used to have in mind कि road tax दे रहे हैं तो और क्या देना है. Then came the increase in rates of fuel, which was due to various market economics, various factors, but we should keep in mind that there is a cess on it which goes to NHAI. At the top of it, some of the states have imposed infrastructure cess at the rate of 1 rupee per litre or 2 rupees per litre, which goes to dedicated fund for developing infrastructure. Now, when the levy of that fund was challenged before High Court, I was from the government side, we were defending the matter. Now, let me be very candid about it, that sometimes a common man doesn't know what the numbers actually are. Tolling per se is not at all bad, actually it is good. Unless you toll, I cannot agree more with Anil Gandhi that we have to pay toll. The time for free lunches is actually over, if you look at pan-India. But yes, where there is no alternate route available, I agree with you fully. Because there are inefficiencies, those inefficiencies have to be avoided. Now coming down to the toll part, see, when the cases were defended before the High Court, we came out with all the numbers. There is a central road fund, CRF, with the Government of India, and the money out of that kitty goes to various state governments every year. Now it is a fixed kitty, and the prioritization has to be done with the state. If there are 30 projects to be implemented across the state, the money is so little that only 5 projects can be implemented. So it is not the case that, someone raises an allegation on the government officials if money is coming to you from the central government, money is coming from the road tax, money is coming from the cess on petrol. why you are levying toll, why every vehicle is being charged toll. The numbers are absolutely different. There is a full justification for levying toll at a national level, if you ask me. Because the volume of work which needs to be done, the volume of development which needs to take place, it is tremendous. And believe me, there is no money. There is no money. I mean, are we happy with the very limited
May I
number?
intervene, sir? I'm sorry, sir. The money is increasing the 4 times, 5 times of the salary of the legislators.
Agreed. That's a larger topic, but let us focus on this. Let us focus on this.
Excuse me, I'd like the questions to be crisp and the answers to be precise because
The point was that there is no money. My learned senior was telling and apprising all of them, the members here, that there is no money. When I say that if the money is not there, how there can be money for increasing 5 times the salary of the legislators?
Okay. Now, we're going to follow a slightly different procedure. We're going to have a few questions without answers, and then we're going to allow the panelists to answer.
That will be the wrong policy of the government.
Yeah, we're going to take a few questions.
We are working upon an issue, a regulatory framework for public-private partnership in a global perspective. We are not deliberating what the government shall do, what government action shall be. We are focusing on the regulator. Number one. Number two, we can focus within the parameters of the existing laws. Then whatever will come out, your suggestions, etc., as to regulate. We cannot change the basic feature of the constitution or preamble of the constitution, why it is secular, socialist, and democratic, republican. So what he has said, rightly said, why shall I pay for that? Because it is the duty, directive principles have been provided there. There are some duties on the citizens also. I will taking topic from the economics again coming to the law because that is my subject, not the economics. So now in India we have a number of problems. We have shadow regulators, we have everything. Main problem is our CBC. Then you have the cabinet. So question is, even if for public lending, even if for public offering, even if for public contracts, what the CBC guidelines are, we have to follow that. Unless the CBC guidelines are diluted, L1, L2, L3, whatever they are mentioning, we cannot proceed a step ahead without diluting the CBC guidelines, or though the statutory recognition has been given to the CBC, now there need to be statutory recognition with respect to the CBC guidelines for entering the type of the contracts. Otherwise, if I go for private and public, at local level, they fall under the, what we call this, state list, as far as the land is concerned, land records everything, the development laws of the particular state, then central acts will come into picture. The number of regulations, it is better in this forum. Instead of entering into economics and national income, infrastructure, agriculture, industry, etc., it is better that if we concentrate what shall be the regulatory framework, so that those terms, those terms can be taken and those consortium agreements or compliance agreements are made out, all those terms will come out.
Okay.
May I take a
short question?
Short question. In India, there are a lot of promoters in real estate, and they are playing fraud with the public at large, and lot of cases are coming in the court. Why government is not framing the regulatory system of real estate?
And standard agreements.
Because real estate regulatory system should be there, and even infrastructure regulatory system, then they cannot go scot-free and there will be some check and balance on them.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions from this side?
I want to ask one question. That is,
Please speak into the mic.
what is the guarantee tomorrow that private player will give you a good road? We are going to give the good road for the purpose of taking the good road by giving the private sector. But tomorrow private is laid out and naturally the government and the place, they will not give you the provide the good road, they will only get the road and they will call it a tax or a toll.
So, quality. Okay, that's an issue. Any other questions?
We have one more question. This public-private participation, this itself needs little introspection in our mind. Then what we are calling is private is not private. If you look into it, it is also public because these are all public limited companies. The public money is involved. and not only few people are sitting on the top and they call it their company. For instance, Reliance. Reliance is not Ambani's. It is all belonging to the shareholders and the public. So we have to here examine whether what we are talking about, the private participation, is it not really public participation only? Why not then have the public participation only on the lines of Indian Oil Company, IOC, or this Coal India, or something like that, you see, which are...
My question is regarding we have the two categories of if this PPP is going to have a success in Bimaru and what is the success in non-Bimaru, because returns are good in Delhi for PPP, but not that good in Bihar and Odisha and all those things. So what is the...
Allah, you want to say?
We talk about, we are now more than 62 years from the independence. We talk about infrastructure, we talk about global scenario. Now my question is that if Europe can do something which is beneficial for the community, for the public in general, we have the resources, we have the infrastructure, we have the people at the higher level, the dignitaries who can perform their duties. So what is the particular reason that even in a common man, those infrastructure facilities are not being provided? We talk about the transport, we talk about small businesses, whatever. But these things are not being provided to the lower level, even though they are paying the taxes, they are paying the cess like we have talked about. So what is the particular reason that it's not being passed?
Okay, now we have a sufficient number of questions. First Anil Gandhi, then Gagan. We'll try and take the main issues in the questions, and then we'll take 2 minutes to wind up, so we'll wind up in time. 2 minutes each.
I look at a deal. This is the question that I ask, is it the commercial structuring or is it the legal structuring which is included? And at the end of the day, I have seen, if I go too much into legal structuring, then the project won't happen. So typically in few of the transactions that I have done, I have said, let's go ahead actually. Moment a deal is happening, even if there are legal infirmities in the document, even if there is no clarity about the ownership in the document, I have seen moment the public sees that this is beneficial for the public, automatically everything happens actually. So I think we need to be transparent before signing of agreements. So whether a regulatory body is there, so we carry out hearings before the award of the project, or even just before signing of the project, or even initiation of the project. I think this kind of a discussion is needed. Let's face it, we do not have the money, so we have to look at the alternative mechanism. 60 years we have not been able to do anything, that means there was something wrong with the system. So errors in history cannot move forward also. So we have to relook at the system, we have to change the system. Maybe right now we are glorifying PPP, but 15 years after this we will say this is all bullshit. Private sector is profiteering, let's go back to the public mode. So I am not saying that this is best, but at the current time, this seems to be the most plausible option. I think what we need to do is to curb the profiteering rather than transferring risk. We need to embed technology into our mechanism. And rather than ex ante identifying all risk and transferring, I think we need to work systems where through the contract period, we are monitoring and we are just monitoring the private sector that he doesn't earn excess money also. Thanks. Because in the real estate sector, and need for a standard agreements and a regulatory body for real estate, yes, I tend to agree. But as Anil had mentioned, that we should not have just another regulatory body which is manned by some people who don't have any experience or expertise. You need to have right type of people to man that body, not just a huge building to accommodate some serving government officials or to accommodate some retired government officials and give them a paraphernalia of cars and this and that. It should be effective regulatory body. The second point is the quality concerns pertaining to the infrastructure projects. I would like to throw some light that I have personally seen it happen over the last 15 years. Lot of changes have undergone as far as the way we've been drafting the contracts. The concept of independent quality